So the purpose of exercise 2 here, when it comes to discovering your personality needs, is that once you identify your personality needs, you will learn to better understand yourself, your needs in relationships, and how to use your emotions as feedback to stay regulated. This will also help enable you to create more fulfillment in your life by filling your needs buckets daily. So we talk about this a lot in the course. The idea is to get a really clear structure of your personality needs and tune into these things on a regular basis so you can feel fulfilled, empowered, be conscious and intentional about these things. And you're going to save yourself a lot of emotional pain that might be unnecessary, and also have a lot of empowerment in your relationships when you understand these things. So step 1 is to answer all of the following questions and to list your top 4 answers for each question in the tables beneath each of the questions themselves. Now, step 2 here is once you've filled out your top 4 answers for every question, go to the subconscious personality needs at the back of the workbook, and beside each answer you can write down which subconscious personality need you feel it relates to. And you can fill this out in the table of each question below. Okay, so you can navigate it that way, but you can also navigate it by just trying to answer these questions and then sort of link which personality needs you think this shows up for. Like, what are the common themes or threads here for you? Because the table has core subconscious personality needs, but it doesn't necessarily have every single personality need, because they can be really specific to people. So it's sort of like a list of very common ones that we often see. So the key to this exercise when you're filling out is to understand your why behind these activities. Because remember, we talk about how your brain is a needs meeting machine. And basically every decision or behavior, especially if it's in a pattern format, is actually an attempt to get a need met, either directly or indirectly. So you want to be as specific as possible when you answer these questions. Let's say your example is like you're spending a lot of your time reading books or watching television shows. We don't want to just have that's your initial answer, but then you want to connect that to, okay, and what type of books, what type of television show, what needs does that meet? Maybe you find you watch a lot of reality TV shows, and maybe you're like, oh wow, that's to feel emotionally connected to the characters. It's actually meeting a need for emotional connection. Maybe you're like, wow, I love watching human behavior, and maybe that's part of your personality need structure. So you just want to get really clear about those things from here, okay? And then a reminder is that these needs are the streams that are leading back into the river of our six basic human needs. So the needs we just covered, really, this is here to help give you strategies to meet those bigger needs that are really deeply subconscious, almost at the level of the unconscious mind. And they're also combined, like I was sharing, with like the places we build the most positive versus negative associations to. So if we take the example of Bob, and Bob has a personality need for love and connection, if he really gets a lot of positive associations to it, but also feels a void, and then he gets a lot of his needs met through romantic relationships, but not through family, he's going to really become like a relationship guy and really care about like his romance and want to talk to people about romance and think about it and fantasize about it and watch shows about it and all these things, because that's his way of taking in and filling up his bucket for love and connection based on the personality, the construct he developed around that as a strategy through connecting in romantic relationships. Okay, so we're going to start together. And question number 1, what are the patterns behind what you think about the most? Okay, and I'm going to give you a whole bunch of sample answers. I'm not just going to do mine. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of different potential answers here. Okay, so let's say we have a client we'll call S. And I remember S's answers for this were sort of like this. She would say, a really big pattern of what I think a lot about is my kids. She also said she thought a lot about her ex-husband. She said she thought a lot about where she lives, her home environment. And really specifically, she would think about like decorating her home, what she wanted it to look like, all these sorts of things. And she would think a lot about the future. And when we really dug into that, it was like, okay, what about the future? And she said, am I going to be safe? Am I going to have money put away? Am I going to be okay? And sort of just worrying a little bit about the future. So these were her answers. So now what you would do here, okay, is you go, okay, my kids, what personality need does that meet? So you're going to go to your 45 common subconscious personality needs, and you would look through, okay? So, okay, kids, wow, family, that could be family. Emotional connection, there we go. And then you might look as well to see, is there anything else in here that it could meet? For some people, it's approval, but we see her ex-husband, and that sounds like romantic relationships. The way you would find if it's approval, it would be a lot of your thoughts would be, what do you think about the most? A lot of your thoughts would be around, what do people think of me? What do my kids think of me? What does my ex-husband think of me? It would be like sort of wondering about their opinions and perceptions of you. So you go in here and you would look through, and is there anything else? And so let's say it's just those things. She might go, okay, my kids. You would ask yourself, is this because I'm valuing family and caring about family and keeping the family together and having good family values? And for some people, starting a family, having a family in the future, spending family time together in a quality way? Or are your kids your major source of emotional connection? And for her, it was family, but for some people, it could be emotional connection too. And a way you could tell is emotional connection will be, you have a lot of really close relationships. And in here, you'd probably also have other answers about, my friends, a lot of it would be structured around the close relationships in your life and the vulnerability. So for her, it's family. And also for her husband, it was romantic relationships. Now, some people will have both. It can be family and emotional connection. It can be romantic relationships and emotional connection. If that's the case, that's fine. Fill them both out, okay? And then home environment, a lot of it was around decorating, okay? So for her, a lot of it was like, what does her environment look like, feel like, okay? So you would go through and you would take a look. And for her, it had a lot to do with creativity. And I'm looking for creativity, okay? Creativity's in there. And her home was also a space where she felt comfort, okay? So she might write creativity and comfort, okay? Like, did she have cozy blankets and candles and all those things? Now, the future was a lot about worrying about the future. Will I be okay? How will I put enough money away? These sorts of things. So that's really related to security. So do you see what we're doing? We're going to go through each of these questions and we're going to go fill in the potential outcomes here. Now remember, at the end, what you're going to do here is you're going to tally up the themes that occurred the most, and that's going to give you the hierarchy of your personality needs, okay? So the next question is, what patterns exist within what you spend your free time doing? And again, you're looking for why. What needs does this meet? Okay, so let's take a look. What patterns exist within what you spend a lot of your free time doing? Okay, so let's take another person that we'll use as a sample. We'll call this person G. Okay, so G likes to spend his free time learning, likes to spend his free time playing video games. G also likes to spend his free time in his romantic relationship and likes to spend his free time with friends. Okay. Now, the friends, if we define the friends, it's like 3 close friends that always seeing all the time, not like a big community setting of friends. So if we're looking for this here, go back to your list, and you can just pull your list up separately on a page if that's helpful. You can go back to your list, and it's like, great, let's take a look here at which specific needs this meets. So learning about what? Is it a bunch of specific topics? Like, is it one specific topic, like just personal growth or just religion or spirituality? Or is it like just learning in general that's broad about any topic at any point in time? And G's answer would be that it's a lot of learning in general, which is actually a personality need. So look, I see that here. And then video games. Okay, which needs do video games meet? Okay, well, let's take a look. Entertainment and fun. Okay, so you'd write that in. And then, okay, romantic relationships. What is that? And this person didn't really value romantic relationships so much as a whole, but more valued the emotional connection from it. Okay, I didn't think a lot about relationships and what it should look like and what the future would look like. more like just connection from it. And friends, same, 3 close friends for a very long time. So emotional connection again. Okay. So what you would be doing here, right? Let's say that you had a lot of similar answers in number 1, because usually most people have a lot of similar patterns throughout their entire worksheet. You would be starting to tally these things up. So I'm going to go on for the next question just to be somewhat as if I am this person, okay? So that you can see the patterns emerge. So let's say the next question, what are the patterns behind how you spend your money? So if you're the same person, G, you might go, okay, spend my money on books, on courses, okay? I spend my money out with friends, okay? Like maybe eating food, going to dinner, these sorts of things. And then spend my money on buying new games. So then I would look, okay, books, courses, what personality needs? Oh, learning. Okay, so see how there's patterns starting to emerge? Oh, courses, learning again. Okay, out with friends. Why? Oh, because I like spending my time out with friends. It gives me emotional connection. Games, what does that give to me? Oh, games give me entertainment and fun. And so what you would start to see is you'd be able to look and go, okay, emotional connection is getting a good bit of pattern here. Learning shows up, entertainment and fun. And you're already starting to see like, and this can change through your questions, but you're already starting to see it looks like emotional connection and learning seem to be a little bit more important than entertainment and fun, because they've shown up 3 times each, and this has only shown up twice. Now, you won't know that till you've completed all the questions, but you're waiting to sort of pluck out these patterns as they go. So we'll just do one more, and then I'll let you go through the rest of these yourself. But where do you consistently show up effectively without the need for pressure or encouragement? Why? What needs is your subconscious naturally trying to meet through doing this? Okay, so you might look. Let's say we're still G. Where does G naturally show up? Well, nobody has to twist G's arm to learn. It's something that naturally he'll do. So he'll read articles, he will read books all the time, these sorts of things. And another thing naturally is research, researching about different topics and making notes and sort of forming like worldviews from all these different topics, whether it's history or science or math or all these different sorts of topics that are interesting to this person, okay? The next one is where do you show up effectively without the need for pressure and encouragement? What needs? Well, with friends, nobody has to ask to do that. Ask G to do that. It's quite simple and easy. And another one is that G's starting to take some care of his health. Okay, so sometimes you'll have these outliers, but you'll see here, okay, learning, it's like reading articles, reading books, researching. Okay, great. It's learning all different topics, the personality need of learning itself. Excellent. And then friends, personality need, emotional connection. Now remember, the reason we do this part here where we keep looking for what needs this is meeting is because for, let's say, John might go friends, and it could be like a whole giant variety of friends, like 20 different friends that John sees regularly. And it could be more about community as a personality need. It could be more about social connection instead of emotional connection. Learning could be very specific topics for some people. It could just be learning about personal development, learning about that sort of thing. And that might be more of like a personal growth need because somebody's learning about personal development so that they can grow and expand themselves and be better and integrate these things. So even though the answer might look the same on the surface, the reason that we do this thing and the need that it meets could be different for the individual underneath. Okay? So basically you're going to go through and you're going to complete all of these questions and all of the answers. And then at the end, you're tallying your top 5 answers. So you might use like a little scrap space here and identify all the different themes. So for example, if we just used G's example, we might see that there's learning, that there's emotional connection, that there's entertainment, that there's fun, that there's health, Okay, that's sort of a one-off. And then you might see some other ones that come up and sort of show up in between. But what you should be able to do is tally and really get the order and hierarchy. So G, as he goes through his personality needs, might have some other random ones. It could be community could show up in there. It could be, all sorts of different things. Spiritual growth, spirituality, right? It could be any of those things. But what's really going to matter is that you have your tally and you're counting them up. So let's say at the end, learning came up 6 times, and let's say emotional connection came up 5 times, and let's say entertainment came up 4, and fun 3. Or let's say they're together, and we can sort of put them in a category because that person might see them together. And then health maybe 2, and community maybe 1 and 1. So we're really looking for what's significant, okay? Even if health and 1, then we go, okay, these are the top 4 big drivers of this person's personality structure. So learning, emotional connection, entertainment, and fun. And the way you'll know if these are the same thing or different for you, if your subconscious mind has really associated them as being close together or not, is really like, are your answers always those 2 same things that you're putting together? Is it always like spiritual growth and personal growth? Is it always emotional connection and fun? Or are there different places? Is entertainment something you do, watching television and movies, and fun is more like, out exploring, doing different things. So it's really like, are you having them show up together or not? And then let's pretend health has, 3. It might be substantial enough to make the list. And so there you go. Okay. And you can just put the times chosen beside and sort of tally everything in there together.